this conversation we're about to have is the longest I have talked to anybody within foiling that,
Really?
like I've never sat down with, like it's all been by myself and passing conversations. Like I've never sat down with anybody who understands foiling
Why is
until
that?
right now. There's just nobody around here. Yeah.
Not even like regular dock starting?
No.
All right, listen, if I say weird when I talk about your vehicle, I apologize in advance, man. It's
All
just,
good.
come on, I wasn't supposed to be untangling things. I'm not on a pair wing. People still think those are earphones. Those are not earphones, those are SurfEars. They prevent exostosis. So you really want to wear them in the cold and dirty waters. Get your SurfEars in the link below. For your health, man, for your health.
This is UpOnFoil, the podcast for everyone flying just above the surface. Pump, carve, soar, let's foil!
This episode is also sponsored by Foilsessions, but more on that later. This is episode number 88 of UpOnFoil, the podcast where we talk all about foiling today with Marc Willers. Marc has been on the BMX. He has been at the Olympics twice, 2008 and 2012, and he constructed something that people might have seen on Instagram. It's the world's first surf bike. And you have it here in the background. Is there anything, Marc, people need to know about you before we get really into it?
Where could I start? I could go back a long way. I've been racing BMX since I was age 4. So
Oh, wow.
not just riding, but I was already racing at that point. And then, long story short, left high school halfway through, was painting cars, and then I was BMX racing the whole time. And I went to in 2005. I went to the World Championships in Paris, and I made the final for the pro division at the World Championships, and that happened to be the same time that they announced BMX was in the Olympics.
Nice.
And so, kind of seemingly overnight, every national team began, and so the life kind of changed overnight, and then become a professional BMX racer. In 2010, moved to the States. I lived out in California for 10 years or more, and then about 5 years ago, I moved out here to good old Knoxville, Tennessee, settle down and have a family.
Very nice. We're going to get into foiling for all the listeners who are into foiling. We're going to get there. No worries. But for people who don't know BMX racing, maybe you can explain, is it always like 4 or 6 against each other? And then you have this parkour. It looks, for me, similar to like ski cross or something similar. You have bumps you have to jump over. Can you maybe explain how a race works?
Very similar. So the Olympic format and the World Cup format, you basically start on a 40-foot high start ramp, 45-degree angle. You're doing 40 plus mile an hour before you get to the bottom of this hill within split seconds. But you've got 7 guys handlebar to handlebar next to you
Shit.
that you're trying to beat them down and hit the first 30-foot plus jump. And then and a race typically lasts 35 to 45 seconds, and you might do 8 of them a day. And it's just cutthroat. You versus 7 other dudes each lap, sprint to the finish. There'll be 4 straights and 3 corners typically.
Wow. And then you have like the first, I don't know, 3, 4 who get into the next round, or how does that work?
Yeah. Yeah. Depends on the organization running it, but yeah, it could just be top 4 move on, or points over a certain amount of races and things like that.
That sounds epic. When was the last time you were on a BMX, like on a course like that? Do you do that anymore?
Nah, not since I haven't seen a track since I retired in 2015.
Oh, really?
It sucks that Knoxville, where I moved to, doesn't actually have a BMX track,
Oh,
but
really?
they've got pump tracks and lots of mountain biking and everything else. So, but no, it's been, other than riding my bike with the kids at the pump track, there's no BMX
All
other
right.
than other than on the water.
Yeah, because let's just jump right into that. When was your first idea to do that? Did you immediately go in the water with that, or you started with classical dock starting?
No, this was it. I had never foiled in my life. Um, for years, for decades, people have tried, like they've bolted BMX or mountain bike frames to a surfboard or a wakeboard or something, mostly wakeboards, but they're all getting yanked around by the rope and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, sure, there's a bike frame and handlebars on top of a board and you're surfing, but it's not really performing like a bike. Um, and then I tried it. I had my own surfboard with a bike on it, wasn't working. And then early COVID, um, I actually think, I can't remember her name. It was a video that stood out, and it was called like the Trotternet foil or something.
Foil scoot.
Um, well, that's what it translated to. Yes.
Okay.
Um,
Oh,
and
but that was
it was the girl.
before Benji, huh?
I think so. It was the
Okay.
girl. She runs for Axis. Olivia. I
Olivia
saw.
Piana.
Yes, I saw
Right,
her
DC. Okay. All right.
on a video, and it had the scooter bars. And then that just got me down the rabbit hole of looking at what are these hydrofoils? How does this work? And just instantly I'm like, why is there no steering on that? They've got the bars. And then it just spiraled from there.
Yeah, because yours actually, you can actually steer with your bike like a
Yep.
regular bike, I presume.
Yep.
So there's kind of a rudder in front.
Yes.
No foil attached to that front part, right?
So there was, until it broke, because I have an adapter that just bolts into the bottom of it, and I just take to it with a grinder and make it more streamlined basically after every session. Okay, it's working, take a little more off, and eventually that adapter just snapped in half and sunk to the bottom of the quarry. But I that forced me to learn to ride without. Not that it was a big change, but I learned that that's a great thing for training wheels. So you don't need that extra foil on the front, but the amount of stability that comes from having that extra 400 square centimeters or whatever
Like the
the
area was.
stabilizer is, and it can be adjusted backwards and forwards or just completely removed and do it old school.
So you had 3 foils. You had the central, the big foil, the our
Yep.
front wing, and then you had 2 stabilizers, one in front and one in the back.
Correct.
Wow. How was that like pumping? Did you have to use a lot of force with your arms as well?
No, it still felt, I think if I went back now, I'd notice it, but it was still very lively. You were still all over the place. But then I didn't realize, but it was quite hard to get over. Like when you're riding on the wake and you kind of get up near the top and you're trying to just drop in to get
Yeah.
going. It was just a little bit hard to get over that balance point. And then when it snapped off, I was mid ride and it literally sent me into half a backflip.
Wow.
And so that is what I was like, okay, we're doing backflips every session from now on. Like,
That is epic.
my foil sunk and I just looked straight off the back and I was like, oh, this is changing things.
That is crazy. People who are listening or watching, you need to stop right now and go on Instagram, for example, at Willers, WILLERS 777, or SUBI-Riders, SUBI-Riders on Instagram. If you haven't seen it before, just so you have an idea. Because when I think about something like that, I would need a proof of concept. You didn't have that, right? You thought, well, I'm going to try. were there some moments when you thought like, well, maybe it's just not going to work? Or were you always committed and thought like, this must work?
No, ever since I saw foiling and saw the scooter bars, and I was like, it has to make sense. Like, there's no reason it wouldn't make sense. And so I bought a cheap foil, and lapped everything
Cheap
together.
foil. Come on, man. Be honest.
It was a wooden.
Oh, really?
It, it was just straight wooden foil that I
Okay.
had to fiberglass myself. So I had this
Okay. Oh,
thing.
wow.
So I put like 2 layers of fiberglass on this thing. I had no idea what I was doing, and just immediately blew this thing to pieces.
Yeah.
Um, and just had to keep rebuilding, and ended up running bolts through the main wing and through the fuselage, and then wrapping it again. But it got to a point where I could get off the dock and get around a good 10 seconds and make it back to the dock.
Oh, nice.
And so immediately when that happened, I was like, okay, I'm upgrading the foil to something proper. And then
When was that? When was that exactly? Like,
this would have been late
you said COVID. How long is it? 4 years?
2023 at this point. Yeah, I
Okay.
think it was 2022. I started tinkering, and then 2023, I started rebuilding again because I was getting the hang of it in spring, summer of 2024.
Have you ever recorded a session with a foiling app and then forgot to turn it off on your way home? Well, now with Foilsessions, you can actually crop your session, meaning that you can take out the car ride and just focus on your foiling, which is amazing. Try Foilsessions for free with the link below. Nice. That's 2 years ago.
So I've kind of had a good ability to stay dry for the last 2 years, if I wanted to.
That
You
is
know,
that is
unless I want to get wet, there's not much chance I will.
yeah, because like most videos, I see you doing a backflip at the end or
Right.
something. So no staying dry. But you were by yourself. You always did that by yourself. You never had anyone who said, "I want to try that as well. I want to like do this crazy run with you."
I mean, there was a couple of friends that turned up and tried, but it was usually when it was either cold, what time of the season, and so we could never just really get stuck in. But it was always in various stages of construction, and so there'd be sharp edges everywhere and just pointy carbon bits, and I don't want people to
Yeah.
hurt themselves, and plus I didn't want them to break.
Yeah.
I know exactly how awkward it is to start and how to learn. And so these things take a beating when you don't know what you're doing. Um, and so it was just safer to keep it to me and just lap after lap.
How much did your experience as a BMX rider help you with this pumping movement? I can imagine if I look at this track, when I think about the videos I watched of you, when you have these bumps you have to jump over or pump through. Is that a similar motion? Did that help you at all?
Definitely. I like to explain it as, so you're at the pump track and you've got no chain on your bike and you've got to start at the bottom. So it's like you've just got to bunny hop and get over that one roller, and then you're over it, and then you push, and then you get yourself up again. And so you're just always pulling yourself over that next jump. And then once you get up to speed, it feels like the moment you jump your dirt bike, so mountain bike, whatever, the moment you leave the ground is how foiling feels. And it's like, so you've left the lip and you're just permanently midair,
Nice. Nice.
just
What a
flying.
nice
And it's like you
explanation,
never
man.
come down from jumping.
Wow, that sounds beautiful. And maybe that's what it is, because that feeling of foiling, of flying over the water, that's so addictive and it's different to anything else. But what you just explained, that comes closest. That's really cool, man.
That's
Yeah.
incredible. Like I'm still amazed every session I go out, and it's just like what is going on?
When was
Whether
your
it's
last
just the
session?
glassy water or the dead silence of things that's going on, or the opposite, and the foil's just chirping away at you underneath. It's just amazing.
What, like, when was your last session? How often are you in the water?
I usually get down there a couple of times a week. I was down there, what's today, Monday, on Saturday for an event they were holding at the quarry down there. So I was on the water for about 3.5 hours. Well, I
Wow.
was at the dock for 3.5 hours.
Explaining a lot
Um,
too.
yes, yeah, finally got to give a few people a chance to ride it as well. So it
How did that turn out?
was good. There was some progress. Um, Certainly, it's funny to watch it all over again, watch everybody else go through the learning pains. Um, but that's also one of the things I'd love to, like we all are, is trying to figure out ways to make it easier for people to learn.
It's
You know,
hard
what
enough.
it is.
But for me, that steering part is really interesting. Has it always been like that? Like, was your first bike, is it called a bike?
Yep.
Was your first bike also like able to steer, or was that fixed at the beginning?
No, it's always been able to steer because surfboards are a rear turning, like a skateboard. You're
Mhm.
turning on the back foot all the time.
Yeah.
But obviously, a bike turns a little bit from the front, so with the front wheel, but you're also leaning at the same
Mhm,
time.
mhm.
Um, and so I see the scooter bars. It's like you're still in that rear turning
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah, because it doesn't have anything in the front.
right? And so it's and just you have those natural abilities of riding a bike.
Yeah.
You want to turn, and so the rudder completely removes also that yaw
Yeah.
that you get on the board. So you get rid of that. Plus, a lot of the roll is reduced as well because of the rudder. And so it's much more. I can't actually say that. I feel like it should be much more stable, but I've never ridden a foil. I've never ridden a board to
Oh,
prove that,
really?
but it makes sense.
So you've never been on the classic.
Nah, never.
Why? No interest
Actually,
or no
actually,
possibility?
I tried the beta foil
Okay.
maybe a handful of times.
But that's difficult as well, just because
It
of its
is.
size. What size do you have under your bike? How heavy is it? Like, can you talk about us about the setup? Ah,
It's
yeah, but in the
the
back
I've
you can
got
show
the
it too, huh?
Yeah, I've got that Spitfire 1030, so it's 1300 square centimeter one.
Yeah.
Um, and that's so once I had that original wooden cheap foil, um, and then went to this setup, like I have not touched anything. I have not changed the foil. I've not changed the rear stabilizer, other than losing the front stabilizer. I've gone from complete, you know, dock start noob to surfing the waves and
That's so
and
cool.
doing backflips on it. So, you know, I don't mean to throw shade at your review thing, but it's like, I've been going through all these years like, wow, this is an expensive sport. I need
Yeah.
to get another foil to do this, to do this, to do this. And it's nice to know that literally the exact same setup I began on
Still works.
has been durable enough. Like, I've punished this thing, and it is still just like a bolt has never come loose. So, hat tip to that one.
Very nice. What mast do you use? You have like a shorter mast? How
I
long is
got
it?
the 75 mil centimeter power carbon.
Okay.
Power carbon? Yeah, the
And the
axis
stab is a
one.
what?
Stab was a progressive 400.
All right.
It was very place at the time when this would have been 2.5 years ago when I was shopping around, um, it seemed like a great mix of dock starting and wake riding and small ocean waves. A great all rounder that just seemed like the perfect place for me to start.
And apparently it was, as you're
Yeah,
still using it and using it in so many different areas or disciplines. Does the bike, just maybe just some stupid questions, does it swim? Like, is
it
there,
floats. Yeah,
it floats?
yeah.
Like, is there air in the tubes, or do you have something specially made so it yeah,
Just
doesn't sink?
flotation foam.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
that's in the
at
tubes of the bike.
first, what's that?
Is that in the tubes of the bike there?
Both. So originally, I didn't have any of this board surface on the bike. I just had these tiny little pedals,
Yep.
basically a 3-inch pedal right there. And so all of the tubes are filled with buoyancy foam. Um, but then when I was learning to jump, I was realizing just how perfect you have to be to land a jump without your feet touching the water. Like to get the foil to do all of that lifting without the board or your feet ever touching, like you've got to be absolutely precise. And I did do it, but it's next to impossible. And so that's when I added the board surface. Um, and so I've now moved a lot of that buoyancy down beneath
Okay.
the feet to help um, bounce off the water a lot better.
So there's no saddle, as I can see,
No,
because you need to pump, obviously. You cannot just slide down a mountain. Except maybe if you were on a wake, then you maybe could just enjoy and take some time. But
yeah,
is it?
I mean, you could get down to your knees if you wanted to, I suppose. But um, it's just like riding down the street, just standing up on a bike.
Nice. That's so fun. When I look at this, when I look at it on your videos, it looks exceptional, and it has that familiarity to it because we all know how to ride a bike. But when I think about my pump foil gear, I unscrew a couple of things, and then it's pretty nicely packed, like maybe in a backpack or something. This bike is bigger. What do you take off? Do you put it like in the back of your, I don't know, pickup, or how do you transport it to someplace?
I actually we got an SUV, but I simply just unbolt the mast from the bottom of the frame and then just slide, put the rudder between the back seats, and then this just lays down sideways, and then the foil just slides in
All right,
together.
all right, not a
And
big
if you
deal.
need to take more off, it's just simply 3 bolts here, and that just pulls the handlebars off, and the rudder comes
Okay,
out the front.
okay.
So
So
you're
that's
really only looking at uh, was it about 46 inches or so from top to bottom on the rudder?
okay. So it's not that big, huh?
No,
That's so interesting. Have there been pump foilers who have tried that bike?
the one who has two actually, um, Todd
Yeah.
from Beta
Mm.
Foils.
Oh, he tried it.
He gave it a turn in Atlanta last year. He didn't have time. He only had half a dozen or so tries.
Yeah, it's always difficult. How did he manage?
He didn't have much success. He
Yeah.
got maybe 6, 7 or so pumps.
Okay.
Didn't have much time to give it a go. Uh, and then what's his name from Indiana? Ivan
Um, not sure.
works in Indiana.
Yeah, they're different. I don't
Um,
know. Ivan, don't know. Has Maurus tried?
no, no. Um,
Well,
but
anyway,
yeah,
because I was just thinking if that would help as well. You said like the BMX helps. If pump foiling or any foiling sports would help, probably. But then again, it's something so different. Do people do a running start when starting, or can you also start it from like in front of you, kind of a static start?
You can, yeah. I've done that. It's yeah, as long as you can get, it's really no different than a foil. Um,
I guess
I'm
it is.
actually the one thing I've found haven't really got yet is like a drop starter
Yeah.
because
Oh yeah.
you've still got the handlebars with you, and so you're holding the front of the bike up
Mhm.
essentially when you jump, so you can't get that angle down without nose diving in pretty
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's possible. Everything's possible, but yeah, I just run aside or jump off the jet ski, or
Nice.
I haven't figured out. I haven't tried rope starting yet, but
Okay.
it
Oh
makes
wow. Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. I can imagine it's difficult. How big is that board where you have your feet?
It's like 1 square foot.
Okay. Yeah. It's not that big, huh?
That's not much. Yeah.
Okay. But I'm sure you could do it as soon as the foil engages. You could probably do it. Have you talked to Benji, Benjamin Friand, who makes the foil scoot?
A little bit. We've chatted it a little bit over the last years.
Because he doesn't have any steering. Has he asked you about it?
No, no, he hasn't.
Because that will make a lot of sense. Of course, it would make his whole product a lot more difficult. But still, I mean, a scooter as well,
Right.
you should be able
Yeah.
to steer.
Yeah. Because he's definitely pushing the stepping stone towards foiling, and so yes, it's similar but different, and so I'm not trying to get people to go pump board foiling. I'm trying to get other people to ride their bikes on the water.
That's so
Like growing up, I look at mountains, I see jumps. I look at waves, you see jumps. But any person that's ever made a water bike before, like it does little more than float.
Yeah.
Like that's the extent of it. And every time you hop on one of those water bikes, you're immediately a professional. Like you've mastered it. You hop on thing and you start pedaling, you're up, you're riding. It's like, well, what is there left to do? And so I come from the adrenaline junkie extreme sports side of it. And I see those bikes and I'm just left thinking, how can I surf it? And so I know I'm not the only one who wants to, like I was saying, for years, people have put bikes on surfboards and have finally figured out how it actually works. And, I'm 40, imagine what
What the kids can
the
do.
Rob Von Rolls of the world are going to be doing with this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so cool. On the Instagram of SUBI-Riders, it says Kickstarter coming soon.
Yep,
Um, there's probably something in the works, huh?
definitely. We're trying to launch before the end of this month.
Oh, really?
So we're currently in review, but having a few issues with Kickstarter. Believing my videos are unedited, believe it or not.
Okay.
So that's the latest holdup.
So how is it like you did your bike by yourself? How is it then to transform that into a business?
Figuring that out day at a time. I wanted to I wanted to search my bike. That's how this whole thing started. And then it started really clicking and I was like, this might actually be something. And then people started messaging saying they wanted one and blah, blah, blah. And so it's just, I'm trying to make it better for myself and, everybody else now. And so trying to figure out how the business side of it all um, works is all completely new to me. But coming from BMX and racing professionally, I've got that background of people, I know dozens of people who have manufacturing and things like that and all the expertise needed to bounce questions around with.
So this episode is going to air on the 18th of April. No, of May. We're in May. 18th of May.
Yep.
So it's probably going to be another week or two until this is live. We're going to post every link possible in the show notes, of course. Like, how far along are you? Like, do you have any orders yet? Like people saying, yeah, I'm going to order one. Is there still some problem with some parts or just like
No, nothing.
Kickstarter?
I'm just waiting for the engineering is just we're finalizing which tubing we're going to use, and the proper finished shape of this. I don't know if you've probably seen in the videos some weird looking things around my feet. And that's basically because I had originally had like the pedals there, but when I added the board surface, I didn't realize that I'd been gripping my toes over the front of the pedals. And so now when I'm pushing on that board, my feet just kept sliding to the back, even with the traction pad on there. And so I cut a hole right where my toes go. And so now I'm able to kind of claw over the edge, but I obviously need to put a board surface underneath because your toes still catch that water and then it all just shoots up your legs anyway. But it's still much better than it was.
How is it going to be? Are people going to order the bike or the bike with the foil or have both options? Is there rather something that brands who make masks do, or is it going to be your rudder? How's that going to look?
So doing both. So you can buy the complete unit, and also for anyone like you can just buy the bike and the steering package. But depending on your length of mast, so I'm going to have,
of course,
one shorter length of mast, and then have adapters
for the rudder.
For the rudder. So depending on what your length of mast is, you could just bolt on a little bit. That's just to get started. Until I'm in position to have 10 different sizes of masts, you just have one short one, and then you can bolt on a little bit of an extension on the bottom, or that front stabilizer as your training wheels while you're learning. So you can bolt that on, adjust it, and then once you're up and figuring it out, you can just take that off and then bolt on the extensions.
Can you talk about price as well, or is that still
starting in the upper $2,000 for the frame and steering, and that'll be carbon fiber bars, rudder, and board, and frame, and then complete will be starting in upper 3,000s.
And you're going to work with Axis as well on that?
No, they never.
Never replied.
What's up?
Did they never reply, or did they just don't think that it was going to work?
Correct. No,
really.
They had more months than anybody else, but Indiana. I messaged Von Roll.
Yeah.
Just never spoken to him before, and then I'd always liked Indiana brand, and majority of what I see is you guys riding in Switzerland.
Yeah.
And I just slid in his DMs, and he had me back, and he's like, "This is a cool idea." He'll hit up Maurus, and then the next day I emailed Maurus, and he said, "Yeah, Rob spoke to me yesterday, and come on out." And so I went out to Zurich and spent 5 or 6 days there just testing the Indiana gear and figuring out which ones are going to work the best. And it was a great trip.
When was that? I didn't realize that. That's a pity.
That was, I think, late September. Yeah, late September last year.
Oh shit! I would have loved to come, man.
I think I did miss. I think you were out of town or something.
No
I
problem.
can't remember.
Yeah, September is usually family vacation time, which
Right.
obviously is also nice. But yeah, I would have loved to try that. I'm always up for new stuff. Oh, all right. I didn't even know that they work with Indiana. I'm gonna see Models tomorrow again. I'm gonna have to ask him about it. That's
Yeah, it was they were, I loved them, and like I'd messaged every foil brand you could imagine, just trying to get pricing.
yeah,
This is what I'm doing. I'd explain myself, yada yada yada. You know, I'm wanting to sell foils as part of this package.
sure.
Can I get some pricing? And literally not one company replied
Wow.
until Maurus.
Okay.
And there's been a couple since. There's been a couple since, but he opened his door, so um can't can't thank him enough.
That's all right. I didn't know that. Did your like past as an Olympian help at all? Like you said before that you knew people who build bikes per se. They might help you. Did that help you at all? Like your fame, basically.
Yes, definitely. I have just, YouTube University for a lot of it. Um, my dad was a welder, or is a
Nice.
welder, and so I've always been tinkering. I've worked on cars and built hot rods and stuff all my life, so I can find my way around the toolbox. Um, but just I think the determination, definitely. You get you get that spark, and it's like, okay, there's something here in all aspects, just figuring out the bike and how it works and how it needs to feel. Um, and then just that determination of just hopping on, sinking, get up, hop on, sink. I did the 150 to 200 attempts, while I was building it. You know, so I had, just straight pieces of like aluminum tube, um, with a homemade kind of streamlined thing on the bottom of it. Like that was my original rudder. And so, including that and all the broken pieces along the way, I think, less than 200 times off the dock, I managed to get back to the dock.
That is
So,
that is
I think
impressive. That is impressive. Just as is, like also for regular dock starters. Now, when I think about you doing something like that, I cannot imagine that is your full-time job. You said you're a dad as well, so that takes part of your time. How does your life look like? Are you 100% doing that now, or do you have like a real job?
I'm a day trader. I've been doing stocks in the stock market and stuff. I've been doing that since around 2017, 2018. Um, and so I tried to work just like start the trading day, 8:30 to 11 a.m. or so. And if I have a good string of trades, then I can just shut it down and I can head to the water for the
Nice.
day. Um, but you also have the opposite of eating it for the first hour of the day and having to sit there for the rest of it to try and make it back again. Um, but yeah, that's me. So just sitting at that computer right there, clicking buttons, and then as soon as I've clicked enough buttons, I can go outside and start writing.
But how much time do you work on that bike and on that whole project?
It's a lot lately. It's a lot because we're trying to get this Kickstarter launched by certain dates, and so um, just figuring it all out. We're bootstrapping the whole thing, and it's my wife works part time as a oral surgeon assistant, and so I'm just at home with the kids, so juggling a 3 and a 5-year-old boy while trying to trade and trying to do this, but
That
they
sounds
like
like a
hanging it.
lot of work, man.
Yeah, it's a matter of the trampoline needs to become, that's my training for today. Let's
Okay.
go jump 10 minutes in the trampoline. It's amazing how far that goes with the kids. And you can get a hell of a workout in 10 minutes jumping on a trampoline.
That's true. That's
Um,
true.
and so it's just a matter of trying to make things fun and for all of us, basically.
And it looks like, or it seems to work. Which, yeah, you must be doing something right. That's epic, man. So that's coming out. Is there anything that you like plan ahead or look ahead already after it? Like you said before, that people can order the bike, they can order bike with the foil, but you must have a lot of ideas what could be in the future. Can you share any of that? Or is that no, I'm focused on the
I
Kickstarter
mean,
now and then I'll go.
no, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but I don't believe I am. I truly believe this is going to be something. I really do. And with that comes a boat rack. You know, you need to be able to figure out, like a wakeboard rack and a foil
Yeah.
rack and all that, things like that. Travel bags, um, electric assist, etc. Different boards for different bikes for different
An e-bike. Yeah.
disciplines. Like maybe we can paddle in one day if the board's shaped, the bike is shaped right, things like that. So, um, but also like as a sport, like I just want to ride with one person, but I can't I can't imagine how it's going to feel when again I can have 7 other people, and we are 4 wakes back, and there's just 8 of us riding on a wave behind a boat. Like that's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think there'll be as much contact um, with these razor blades underwater, like
Yeah. Yeah.
BMX
Yeah.
was. But
Um, like if you put it on Kickstarter, then you probably have to do a lot of publicity as well. Is there any
yep.
plans on traveling, going to different shows, the SFT, or you have another like foiling league in the States, right? Any plans on that?
Yeah. So um, I'm trying to get the Kickstarter live by Memorial Weekend here in the US, which is the 22nd of May. Because there's a BMX race not far from me in Nashville, which happens to be right on a lake
Oh,
as well.
nice.
So you can get the BMX crowd and Memorial Weekend partiers on the lake, literally all in the same place. So I'm trying to launch there, and then it'll just be lakes and whatnot every opportunity I can. But then early June they have the Atlanta Foil Fest,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, which I wasn't allowed to compete there last year, but
Really? Why not?
yeah, Tom won't let me.
Oh, come on, Tom.
Um,
Are you too
it,
fast or what was it?
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. It's just I don't know. It was something new, weird.
Okay.
Um, but uh, but SFT, that was SFT, and so
Yeah.
they're not the Atlanta Foil Fest. I
No,
think
not
that's
this
part
year.
of it's the other one. Um, and so it was a little tricky to figure out another one at somewhere down on the Gulf. But I'm hopeful that I can get things, for example, like a rope start figured out before Atlanta Foil Fest,
Mm-hmm.
because if I can get pulled up on a rope and swung into a race just like everybody else, I see no reason why I couldn't.
Yeah, me neither. I,
Um,
you know what I see when I'm at the dock, like maybe even still a year ago, people with foil scooter, they were looked at a little bit weird. It's like, who is that? Scooters are not as cool, you know? But now people have come to understand how it can be helpful for people who want to start or just want to have that handle for either more fun, more support, more control, or more safety as well. And with the bike, it's probably going to be similar, right? You're going to be the outsider at first, and it needs some time to get in there. Um,
Absolutely.
but I'm open to anything new, even though I had to learn that as well. But this looks so much fun. Have you any plans on coming to Europe again?
I want to make it back this year. It all really depends on how this Kickstarter goes. I'm gonna be hitting the road as much as I can and getting as much footage pushed out and whatnot. Anybody out there who's watching from anywhere south of Virginia down to Florida, who I've got a jet ski sitting here ready to go. If you want me to come out and we can hit the waves, because I haven't hit the ocean yet. That's the
Nice.
dream. That's what started it all. Is I have this vision of being in a barrel, just on a wave, just dragging a bar end along the inside of a wave. Like, I think that would be amazing. And I've been to the beach twice, and both times immediately ran aground and broken the rudder
Oh shit. Okay.
and
Yeah.
just literally ended the session as the moment I got there. And so I'm going back with the jet ski next time. To whoever is ready to foil out there, let me know, and I will be there in a heartbeat, and we can go surfing.
It would be super cool because while you were talking, I thought back about those BMX races as you have this first ramp, or also like ski cross or border cross, they have this first ramp. It should be possible to have a bike like that on the ramp and then kind of roll down, with a slot in the middle. So then when you are on the water, that you have some time gliding and you can start pumping like a ramp into the water. That should be
Absolutely.
possible.
Absolutely, especially for an event.
Yeah.
Um, you wouldn't want something like that, personal use, lugging something like that around. But absolutely, you can have a couple of those.
Like a quarter
Just
pipe with a slot in the middle, and then you just roll down?
right. Yeah, but it would be the same for the board as well. You could start on top of a deck, and you've just got rollers the whole
Yeah.
way down. You just drop in and try not to nosedive.
Yeah, I haven't seen something like that yet. Have you?
I've seen one. I've seen one
Oh, yeah, but it
recently.
was kind of a smooth rolling in. Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
and he had something he pulled and it
Yeah,
releases for him
exactly.
and he dropped in. But I've also seen another one. A guy cut a slot in the front of his paddleboard, and then they went out into the ocean, and he had someone paddling in behind him, and then he just rode his scooter out the front of it into the waves.
Nice, nice. I tried doing that as well, but like when I made one step, then the subboard just started to move around. I wasn't able to
Right, right,
start it.
right, right.
Man, this is epic. This sounds like so much fun. Is there anything else you wanna add to that adventure?
Um, no, not too much. I just appreciate you reaching out. I like I said, this is literally the longest conversation I have had. Now, even when I come out to Indiana, it was broken conversations along the way. And so sitting down with someone who actually understands foiling,
Right.
more so than I do, it's been great. And so, um, I want to bring, you know, Subi to the world, and it makes a lot of sense in my mind. The minimal increase in resistance from the rudder. So the only real difference is that little thin rudder, which is
Yeah,
actually, I'm sure you'll recognize it. This is a beta foils
yeah.
mast. Todd sent me a couple of these to play with after we met in Atlanta last year. And that is the only increase in resistance, but I'm now no longer a single leg dominated
Yeah,
exercise.
yeah.
And so, I'm pushing down with two legs and essentially altering the pitch with my upper body. And so it's a full body workout, and it's amazing. I average about 100 calories a minute when I'm on the water. Um, You can't ask for a workout much better than that.
I still have another question because
Good.
I don't remember what it was. It was in YouTube. Someone explained to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that if you want to steer to the right, first you have to do just a little one to the left. So you start tilting and then you can go around. Anyway,
No,
is the steering on that foil, that surf bike, exactly as it is on the road?
so without giving away the secret sauce,
Sure.
is yes, it handles very similar to a bike in the way that, like, your head tube is at a certain angle. So when you turn, there's actually a bit of swing in the front wheel and whatnot.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so, yes, it actually, when I'm full sprint, over the handlebars as if I was in a race or aggressive position and I'm turning, like I can lean into that front just as well as I can into a bike at a pump track. Like it's very, very similar.
But if I were to be able to pump on that bike and then I would just steer, let's say to the right, would I, as on the regular bike, just fall down to the front if
No,
I don't lean in?
no, you can. So if I'm riding along and there's a big leaf, all you got to do is just choop, and you'll just dart right around that thing.
And you have the main foil or the front wing that just keeps your stability. So you have much more stability than on a regular bike then.
Right.
That's that's so interesting, man. It's hard to imagine how it feels. Really.
It's weird. It's like when you start off a dock, it feels like an extremely short wheel-based bike. That's really pitchy. Like
Yeah.
watching first timers, like it is all over the place. But that exact same setup, when you're doing 12 plus mile an hour more, so 17, 80 mile an hour, and you're doing benching, 185 pounds in a power push. So like the gearing has just completely changed from just a speed increase, and the amount of force you get to put through it at a top sprint, it's just insane. It's insane. And because you can pull it forward. So like I can push down against where my toes grip in,
Yeah.
and then I can throw myself over the bars, and then you can just pull it forward. So you're getting that increase in speed as well. I would love to know other speeds that people are doing, but I simply don't know enough people who want to tell me how fast they're going.
Well, I'm sure that if you go around with that bike to these events, people are gonna get started with that. And if the kids are gonna start with their tiny foils, they're gonna be super fast with that. Because as you said, it's not just the legs, it's the whole body that can pump, which
Yeah.
is epic, man. That's so cool. Man, I really hope that you come back over and I have time to visit. I would
I
love
hope
to
so.
try this, man.
Yeah, I hope so.
That
I,
sounds
I,
amazing.
I think so. I think so. It's looking likely.
All right. Very cool. So if people want to see that or join as well, if it's ready, SUBI-Riders, SUBI-Riders. Where does that name come from anyway?
Surf bike. So SU for surf, BI for bike.
All right. That's on the Instagram. We're going to put the link for the Kickstarter in the show notes as soon as we have that.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Mark, for coming on the show.
Yeah.
That was so interesting. I'm excited to try that. So cool, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I can't wait until I can finally ride with someone else.
All right. Super cool. All right, man. Have a nice afternoon. Talk to you soon.
All right, you too.